I experienced it when they first announced it last September or October. They finally have just shipped this to me. This is the packaging that the brand new Surface Duo comes in. Now, this is an exclusive reviewer package, and we usually don't bother showing you this kind of stuff because it's not what you're going to get as a consumer. However, they put so much energy into it, made such a beautiful presentation, I thought it was meaningful to show it off to everyone. So you'll see it opens up wide, just like the Surface itself. And behind this flap, we've got a whole package shown off here. Introducing the Surface Duo. There's a new way to get things done. A little detail of the various modes that you can use. And this is a nice little note from Panos Panay himself saying, hey, we put a lot of effort into this. We hope you're going to appreciate it. So you see this reviewer's kit comes with the Surface earbuds. I don't think the actual product does. For $1,400, I would prefer it did. I'm not clear about that exactly. We'll get back to you. Here is the Duo itself. So let's dig into this guy. Now, this is what you will get as a consumer, the Surface Duo itself, in a beautiful box. Now, unboxings are interesting because the experience of unboxing a device kind of adds to the excitement of actually buying it, right? You've invested all this money in it. Here it is. And sometimes manufacturers just throw things in a box, like you throw that used cable into the drawer, whatever. You'll get it. You'll get the product. You'll enjoy it. But the act of unboxing it is cool, right? You've been waiting for this thing for a while now. So here it is. Soft, open, beautiful box. And there it is, the Surface Duo, just sitting there. I'm going to pull it out for you here. We'll get there in a second, but let's take a look at what else comes in this package. Underneath this little insert, we've got a little note on the bumpers. So these are bumpers that sit around the side edges of the Duo as protection. You spent $1,400 or more on this thing, you probably do want some protection. That said, it's already not the smallest device, so maybe you don't want it. So nice that it's set aside separately for you there. And then underneath it, we've got a variety of things. Here's some documentation set in a little box. This is your USB charger. And then we've got a USB cord in here, USB-C, of course. No earbuds. We're not talking about that now. I think they're pushing those wireless ones, which is why you don't get any wired version in the box. That said, here it is, the hotly anticipated Surface Duo. And holding it at long last, I'm just thrilled by the experience because look at this. Look at how impossibly thin this thing is. And it's hard to overstress that because you're used to phones being thin and everyone talks about how thin they get. This is markedly thinner than other devices, 4.8 millimeters. And it feels just like a notepad, which is, I think, exactly what Microsoft was going for here. 2 screens, feels just like a book, opens and closes beautifully and smoothly. The key is these hinges that Microsoft put all of this engineering work into. They're not just hinges. If you stop to think about it, we have 2 different panels here. The circuit board that runs this is split in half, and all of the wires connecting the various parts run inside of these hinges. They said they had to come up with a special polymer for those hinges because the cabling couldn't get thin enough, so they had to invent something, and they actually patented it. The software isn't quite ready for us to take a look at, so we're really just here to talk about the experience of the device itself. But I got to tell you, the experience is wonderful. The motion of opening and closing this thing is fantastic. You can see the various modes that it will be used in. A tent mode like this, great for viewing. A book mode, great for reading a book. Full-on tablet if you're watching something on screen. And what's nice about the hinges that they built here, they have to be capable of doing that, of stopping at any point. And because Microsoft's invested time and energy in this, they can actually do that effectively. The key is now, how does this feel in your hand? It's substantially wider than your average phone. So that feels a little bit different than what you're used to. It's also on the heavy side. It's a slightly heavier, the Galaxy S20, the Ultra one that is, which is 7.7 ounces. This is about 8.8 ounces. An extra ounce doesn't really make a big deal, frankly. It doesn't feel super heavy to me. It feels substantial. It feels good. Glass on both sides. If you're used to Microsoft's Surface products, you're expecting some sort of a magnesium alloy, a titanium alloy. No, it's just glass, but it feels really premium. A pair of 5.6-inch AMOLED displays make up the Surface Duo, each with a resolution of 1800 by 1350 at 401 pixels per inch. The Duo is pushing around 5 million pixels, in other words, which should be really taxing for a device without a battery fit for a Mustang. Battery life is nonetheless decent. A continuous torque system lets you fold the device 360 degrees into any position,
but there are really 4 you're going to lean into. Flat as a tablet, folded like a book, completely open or closed, and then propped up like a tent. It's this last one that's really useful when watching videos. I find myself propping the Duo up next to my laptop and popping on music videos or John Oliver. It's really liberating. A lot of people look at the spec sheet for the Surface Duo and say this device is dead in the water, just a failure coming out of the gate. Why? It's got the Qualcomm 855 chipset instead of the newer 865. It's only got 12 gigs of RAM rather than 16 or heck, maybe even 20. There's no camera on the back of this thing, whereas other smartphones lean way into that with these incredible zoom telephotos that let you see halfway across the water. And look, it doesn't have most of the stuff that other smartphone manufacturers have been throwing into their devices and using them as differentiators. There's no 5G. There's no wireless charging. All of the stuff that you're looking for just isn't in here. But here's the thing. Do you really need it? Take the cameras, for example. How many people actually take advantage of the incredible professional cameras that are packed into their smartphones? Honestly, I take a bunch of selfies and maybe some photos of my dinner. I could do without all of that stuff if I could get more done. And honestly, you can. With most phones, you can only run one application at once. And if you're honest with yourself, this means the back button or the application switcher is the most commonly used feature. If you've got 2 screens, as in the Surface Duo, you can run 2 apps at once. It sounds basic, but look, windowing, the basic functionality of running different apps at the same time, is something we've enjoyed on computers for decades, and we've just thrown it away with smartphones. With the Surface Duo, you can copy and paste from one app to the other. Running 2 apps side by side, you can drag and drop between them to do much more with it, or even just use more of the same app. In Outlook, you can have a list of your emails on one side and an expanded email on the other. This functionality is incredibly useful. Why haven't we had this before? The Surface Duo is striking, functionally distinctive, and expensive as all get out. It's also very much a work in progress. Throughout the process of reviewing this phone, we encountered numerous problems, things like jerky scrolling, problems with the camera app, the device not recognizing which screen was facing in which direction, an important part of the functionality. Microsoft released a patch a little while ago that fixed most of these, but again, this is very much a work in progress. There's also the key shortcomings. The lack of 5G means it doesn't feel very future-proof. Maybe you don't want 5G right now. Maybe you can't even get it, but you probably will in the next year, maybe 2 years. And for $1,400, this phone had better last you. That might be a problem. Still, it's ambitious, and it does solve a number of problems that ordinary smartphones have. Should you get one? Well, if you're into the latest and greatest, it's hard to avoid the appeal of a device this thin.